Behind the smiles of the Beverly Hillbillies, one relationship has been misunderstood for decades: Baer Jr. and Nancy Kulp. Fans assumed tension, rumors whispered feuds, and viral stories claimed late-life confessions. But the real truth is far more complex and surprising. While Baer Jr. remembered the set as a chaotic family, Kulp stood apart as a war veteran, intellectual, and political activist whose biggest clash was not with Baer, but with Buddy Ebsen. Their story reveals how Hollywood myths are born and how nostalgia can hide uncomfortable truths that change how you see the show forever today. Born Maximilian Adelbert Baer Jr. on December 4, 1937 in Oakland, California, he was practically born into celebrity. His father, Max Baer Sr., was the world heavyweight boxing champion, a towering and controversial sports figure whose fame cast a long shadow over the family name. Growing up with such a legendary father shaped Baer Jr.'s personality early on, instilling confidence, ambition, and a deep awareness of what fame could do to a person. He attended Santa Clara University, where he studied philosophy and excelled in athletics, including boxing and golf. But instead of pursuing sports professionally, he felt drawn to Hollywood. The post-war film and television industry was booming, and young, charismatic actors like Baer Jr. were in high demand. He landed steady television roles on shows like 77 Sunset Strip, Hawaiian Eye, and Cheyenne, slowly building his presence on screen. Everything changed in 1962 when he was cast as Jethro Bodine on the Beverly Hillbillies. Jethro was lovable, dim-witted, overconfident, and endlessly hilarious. Baer Jr.'s physical comedy and timing made the character unforgettable, and the show exploded into a cultural phenomenon. At its peak, the Beverly Hillbillies was the #1 television program in America, drawing tens of millions of viewers every week. But success came with a cost. The role of Jethro became a double-edged sword. Casting directors struggled to see Baer Jr. as anything other than the goofy country cousin. When the show ended in 1971, he found himself facing a harsh reality shared by many sitcom stars. Escaping an iconic role can be harder than landing it. Rather than surrender, Baer Jr. reinvented himself. He moved behind the camera, founded his own production company, and began making low-budget films. His gritty 1974 film Macabre County Line became a surprise box office hit, proving his instincts as a producer. He later wrote, directed, and starred in The Wild McCullochs, followed by the successful adaptation Ode to Billy Joe in 1976, which cemented his reputation as a serious filmmaker. Yet even as he reinvented himself creatively, his relationship with the Beverly Hillbillies remained complicated. For years, he openly expressed frustration with typecasting, but over time, his perspective softened. He came to see Jethro as a badge of honor, a character that brought joy to millions and secured his place in television history. Behind the scenes, the cast dynamics were more complex than fans imagined. Baer Jr. later described the set as a family, with all the tensions that come with family life. He admitted there were arguments, raised voices, and hurt feelings among the cast, but nothing unusual for people working so closely together for years. One cast member, however, stood apart in both personality and background: Nancy Kulp, who played Miss Jane Hathaway. Long before Hollywood, Kulp had lived a remarkable life. She served as a lieutenant junior grade in the U.S. Naval Reserve during World War II, earned a degree in journalism, and worked as a writer and linguist. She was academically inclined, disciplined, and deeply intellectual, qualities that shaped her approach to acting. Her relationship with the show's cast was cordial, but she was never fully part of the core family dynamic that included Buddy Ebsen, Irene Ryan, Donna Douglas, and Baer Jr. That distance would later take on a much larger meaning, especially during one of the most dramatic real-life conflicts in sitcom history. In 1984, Kulp ran for U.S. Congress in Pennsylvania as a Democrat. Her campaign stunned fans who knew her only as Jane Hathaway. But the biggest shock came from her former co-star Buddy Ebsen, who was a conservative Republican. Ebsen recorded a radio advertisement supporting her opponent, calling Kulp too liberal. Kulp felt deeply betrayed, stating publicly that Ebsen had no business interfering in her political career. The feud became widely reported and marked one of the most public and painful rifts from the show. Though the two reportedly reconciled shortly before Kulp's death from cancer in 1991, the incident forever changed how fans viewed the show's off-screen relationships. It revealed that behind the friendly Clampett household, real-world politics and personal beliefs could fracture even the closest Hollywood bonds. Another lesser-known connection tied Baer Jr. to one of Hollywood's most tragic figures. During the early 1960s, Sharon Tate appeared in 15 episodes of the Beverly Hillbillies as Janet Trago, Jane Hathaway's secretary. Baer Jr. dated Tate briefly and even took her to the Emmy Awards. Years later, Tate would be murdered in 1969 in one of Hollywood's most infamous crimes. Baer Jr. later described her as kind, bright, and full of promise, another reminder of how close the sitcom world was to the larger, often darker Hollywood narrative. As Baer Jr. moved into business, he invested in real estate and casinos, envisioning a full-scale Beverly Hillbillies-themed entertainment empire with hotels, restaurants, and attractions inspired by the show. He pursued legal rights to the characters and concepts, determined to transform nostalgia into a lasting brand. In 2014, he filed a lawsuit against CBS, alleging the network undermined his plans by allowing a restaurant chain to use the Jethro name. To Baer Jr., the lawsuit wasn't just about money. It was about ownership, legacy, and the right to profit from a character he helped create. Yet, even as he navigated business battles, his personal life took a devastating turn in January 2008. His girlfriend, Cher Rhodes, was found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound in his Lake Tahoe home. She left a handwritten note referencing relationship problems. Baer Jr. called authorities, cooperated fully with investigators, and was cleared of any wrongdoing. Rhodes was airlifted to a hospital and died 2 days later. The tragedy drew intense media attention, turning private grief into public spectacle. By the time Baer Jr. reached his later years, he had experienced extraordinary highs and profound lows. Fame, reinvention, legal struggles, and personal loss all shaped his legacy. And through it all, the Beverly Hillbillies remained the defining chapter of his public life. But the true behind-the-scenes drama wasn't the rumored feud between Baer Jr. and Nancy Kulp. That narrative, often repeated online, has no factual basis. The real story was far more nuanced and, in many ways, more human. Kulp's intellectual background, her military service, and her political ambitions set her apart from the sitcom persona fans adored. Her conflict with Ebsen revealed how deeply personal beliefs can fracture even long-standing professional relationships. And Baer Jr.'s reflections on caste dynamics show that while disagreements were common, there was also genuine loyalty and affection among the core cast. In her later years, Kulp stepped away from politics and Hollywood to teach acting at Juniata College and mentor young performers. Eventually, she retired to a quiet life, far from the sitcom spotlight that once defined her. Her story, like Baer Jr.'s, was one of reinvention and resilience. Today, Max Baer Jr. is remembered not just as Jethro Bodine, but as a filmmaker, entrepreneur, and survivor of Hollywood's unpredictable tides. Nancy Kulp is remembered not just as Jane Hathaway, but as a war veteran, journalist, professor, and political candidate. And the Beverly Hillbillies remains a symbol of American television's golden age,
an era of laughter built on real people with real complexities. Behind every nostalgic sitcom, share it with a fellow fan and keep the real history alive today, too. Thanks for watching.